couple of months ago, we made a video detailing why Disney isn't afraid of Epic Universe, and the lackluster announcements at D23 this past weekend proved it. This is the 7th D23 Expo now. We fans are used to getting things announced and not making it to fruition. But this year, they went beyond that, announcing things that hadn't even been greenlit yet and may likely never see the light of day. And when almost a third of your presentation is made up of these things, that's a worry. To start on a relatively positive note though, the Disneyland announcements were fine. Toontown's overhaul looks great. I was honestly shocked that the Avengers ride is back on the cards, albeit in a new format. I'm curious about the new nighttime spectaculars, though nothing will beat the original World of Color for me, and I really do want to meet the Mandalorian and Grogu. It was also great to get a little more information on Fantasy Springs, especially with how tight-lipped the Oriental Land Company are about their own expansions. Though, to be honest, were we expecting anything other than greatness from this project? And of course, we also now finally know something about Zootopia in Shanghai, with it being a trackless dark ride and the land featuring these pretty dang cool puppets. Though if we're bringing puppets to the parks again, can we bring back the Muppets Present Great Moments in American History, please? While talking about the good, it would be amiss of me as an Australian to not mention that I let out an audible cheer when Disney announced that the Disney Cruise Line was coming down under. Something we unofficially announced here on the channel 3 months ago. And yes, we will be on the first cruise out of Sydney. Those were the positives I could pull out of the panel, and realistically, none of them were completely new or major, highlighting the worries the rest of the panel brought up in me. Most of the time was spent on nothing announcements that really felt like they were stretching things out just to hit that 90-minute runtime. It took them 7 minutes to announce Hulk as a limited time meet and greet character coming to Avengers Campus. Things got even worse when it came time to talk about Walt Disney World, where there was so little of substance to announce. One of the few concrete things was bringing a Figment meet and greet to Epcot, a character they've already had 2 meet and greet versions of in the past, and one that probably shouldn't take over a year from now to debut. Other announcements for Disney World included finally getting an opening season for Tron Light Cycle Run of spring 2023, making it a nice 6-year construction timeline for that ride. We also got a little more information on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, though nothing majorly mind-blowing or different from what we already knew. Surprisingly, one of the biggest Disney World announcements was the quiet retirement of the new nighttime spectaculars that debuted for the 50th, with this probably being the closest we will ever get to Disney admitting how poorly received they were. The worst part of the entire panel though was the what if section at the end, coming off as frustrating more than anything else, treating people like a human litmus test at an event people had paid a lot of money to be at. What do they mean by what if? The people asking this question were the same ones who can make the decisions to make these things happen. Was there so little to announce this year that rather than shorten the presentation, they would prefer to present these things that will likely never happen? In 2019, Disney announced projects such as the Mary Poppins attraction, the Spaceship Earth overhaul, and the Play Pavilion, all of which have been seemingly cancelled. If Disney can't deliver on these easier projects, what's a chance we will ever truly find out what's beyond Big Thunder Mountain? Disney already has an issue with announcing things way too early, and they took it to the extreme this year by announcing things that, even if they do see the light of day, will be likely to be a decade or more away. Is Dinoland really going away? Or are they just trying to see how angry fans of it would get if it did? Not to mention the fact it would completely ruin the entire idea of Animal Kingdom as a whole. Which of course brings up the question, did Joe Rohde really retire, or was he quietly pushed out? This also isn't to mention that if this is the craziest blue sky ideas Imagineering can come up with today, a Moana spinner ride, It worries me how stifled one of the world's most creative companies has become. The Beyond Big Thunder Mountain section was even more confusing, seemingly announced just to say, hey, we're working on bringing Coco and Encanto to the parks. Trust us. While I do like the idea of expanding the park out that way, I just don't believe it will ever happen. So much needs to be adjusted for it to work, but who knows? In 10 years, I might be eating these words, and I hope I am. This whole section, though, seemed like well, if Epic Universe does well, we have these up our sleeves, but we'll just wait and see. Disney has seemingly given up on competing in the market. They're at the top, and as far as they're concerned, that's where they're going to stay. But by doing this, it just is making it easier for somebody else to take over in popularity. The fact that really sums up the D23 Parks and Resorts panel, though, is that the biggest applause from the entire event in a crowd of 7,000 Disney fans was for the fact they were receiving a free pastry on their way out. Disney called this panel a boundless future, but if this is the grandest and unlimited future on the way for Disney parks, I'm disappointed. Universal could come out tomorrow, officially announce one of the Epic Universe lands in 5 minutes, and have said more of merit than Disney did in their 100-minute panel. By the time Epic Universe opens, the only new additions to the park that will have been completed compared to now are Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Tron, and Journey of Water. Our Patreon summed it up well. Dean said it seemed like they're shoehorning in a bunch of IPs into places they don't even fit, even if it comes at the expense of a park's overall story and theme. Rosemary even shouted at her screen, "Joshua, you walking manifestation of a master's in business administration, at least give me an actual Tron opening date." And also brought up a great point at just how overwritten the script for the event was, keeping people on the edge of their seats for information, making them listen through long sentences about magic, what fans love and the history of the parks, before finally delivering pieces of news that would ultimately disappoint them. And if you do want to join in on our Patreon to help us out and contribute to future videos, we'd love to see you there at patreon.com/ReviewTyme. Disney theme parks are the reason I'm here talking to you today. They evoked a sense of wonder in me as a child that matured into a sense of love and appreciation for the art and artists of theme park design. Everything announced at this year's D23, though, seemed like it was designed by spreadsheets, not talented creatives. If this is the boundless future of Disney parks, I wonder how many other kids will fall in love with themed entertainment in the same way that I did. But over to you. What were your thoughts on this year's D23 Expo and the Parks and Resorts panel? Let us know in the comments section down below. For ReviewTyme, I'm Luke. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of ReviewTyme. If so, be sure to like and subscribe, and also check out our podcast, ReviewTyme's Theme Park Cast, available on your podcasting platform of choice.